Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Today, I joined Carl Munson live from Dublin, Ireland, on the Good Morning Portugal show on September 23rd, 2023. And I share some of my experiences in Dublin up to that point, from customs arrival, busing to downtown, missing a tour, finding pubs, and of course, my first Irish Guinness. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Because he's waiting. Let's play his music and we'll see him after this.
Bom dia!
Good morning, hola, bom dia, alegria, tudo bem?
Sim, muito. E
Where
tu?
are you, James? Come on, let's get on with it. Where is Not a Cowboy Hat and where are you?
Well, did you cue up my my visual dad joke for the day?
Of course I did. You only have to ask.
Show it on the screen and then take a guess.
Okay, let's have a look. I read the capital of Ireland's population is growing extremely fast. That's
true. It's Dublin.
You're not in Dublin.
I am.
Are you really?
And I have the tourist merchandise to show it. To prove it.
Can you pack an idiot?
And I don't want to show the inside of the cup. I actually had my coffee in it, so it looks a little dirty, but that little circle says original feckin' Egypt. So.
That is superb. What a lovely surprise. And thank you so much for still joining us while you're there on your holiday.
I will say, I guarantee you that if that door behind me opens up, you're going to see a Connie or a Hank.
Oh, okay. A rare spotting. There's no way we're going to see Hank this early in the morning.
No, I would doubt that. And I don't think Connie knows I'm doing this. And I hadn't figured out last night yet exactly where, which spot. So I told her if she wanted to pop her head in and say hi or sit down with us, she was welcome to. And she kind of went, "Oh,
there she is!
Wait,
hey!
There's a Connie! Hey, Connie, welcome."
You guys have to stay there and do your own TV show where everybody waits for Connie to appear and waves through the door. How
there you go.
That is fantastic. So tell us about this trip then. I mean, is this the extension of being in Portugal when we're in Europe? At some point we're going to go to Ireland, and here it is. You're doing it.
Well, yeah, I've got a number of places in Europe that I want to go see but part of it is it's so easy to do. I mean, from Lisboa, you're about 2 hours from many city centers of several countries. So, yes. And Ireland, Dublin is definitely one of those. It came up. I think Hank or Connie found a really good fare on Ryanair months ago, and we set it up, and it was a really good plan. And then their purchase of their apartment in Villanova de Gaia, fairly typical Portuguese process. They were supposed to sign the papers on one weekend, and we were going to go to Ireland after. Or we set up the Ireland trip, and the people said, "We have the papers ready for you. You have to be here on these days to sign them." And that was right on our weekend. But for some reason or other, that weekend got canceled. But we didn't want to abandon the idea, and we had already purchased the airline tickets. So we had to change those. And of course, that then doubled that great rate. But even at the double the rate, it's still a great rate. So we just pushed it in because the high season was coming, and there was no way we were going to do anything on the cheap at that point. So we waited. We said, let's see what's going on in September. It should be really beautiful. And I have to tell you, I mean, right now it looks a little gray, but it's not. It's just I'm on the backside of a building, so I'm in the shade. But that glow above me is a reflection of the sun. Here, I can show you the sky.
Oh, look at that. So beautiful.
There's not a cloud in it. It's been this way. Well, it was a little bit wet when we arrived on Friday, but it's been 22 sunny and clear ever since. So it's been amazing.
You sound like a professional weatherman. 22, sunny and clear here in Dublin, Ireland.
And I've made the joke that I brought the weather with me because I saw reports of this downpours happening in Ericeira and other places in Porto. So I'm sorry to all of you in Portugal for stealing your weather and bringing it with me, but it has served us well.
Yeah, and we've got some serious Irish weather here at the moment, and I think the way to prepare for that is you just wear an oily woolen. You wear a jumper, a sweater with a lot of lanolin in it, and that just traps the moisture from the skies. And your beard and your cowboy hat, not a cowboy hat, and you'll be absolutely fine. So you will over there. So what's it like? I mean, this accommodation looks really interesting. Have you got a cabin in Dublin?
It really it's a little disorienting because when I saw the Airbnb photos, I said, "Oh, I imagine it being at the top, a little grassy knoll, with some wildflowers growing around, and like that." And it's actually in the backyard of a 2-story double unit.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just in their backyard.
Oh, wow.
So that's what's around me.
That's incredible.
And there's this beautiful wooden structure, which is much more common in the U.S. And so it's been walking in, you just smell the wood, and it's like, oh, that's so nice.
Who doesn't like to first thing in the morning, eh?
Yeah, it really. And so there's so many things. This is my first time being since I've been here, since I arrived in Portugal, being a tourist in Europe. And so there's all these shifts in my thinking, and I was going to talk about something else, but I think this is informative to anyone who's coming to Portugal or making a move. So it's like perfect. But the shifts, it's like it's okay to be a tourist, because I am a tourist, but I'm a tourist in a place where they speak the language I speak, sort of.
However, have you gone into a shop and said "Hola, bon dia" yet? Because you're not American. You're not. See, I had this in Italy. When I went to Italy, I knew I wasn't in England and that I was a tourist. And my go-to was Portuguese by that point.
I have said "sim" a few times. Yes.
Well, there's some progress. That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow, it's messing with your mind. Oh, this is so great. This is fantastic. And what have you done so far? When did you arrive?
We all flew in on Friday evening. So we just arrived at the Airbnb and then kind of took it easy and looked to see if we could find some food at a little market somewhere. But then I'm trying to keep track. I mean, I've been busier in 3 days than I've been in 3 months. So Saturday we were supposed to meet a tour in the city center of Dublin, where this particular location is on the outskirts, much closer to the airport. So in the sort of mostly north portion of edges of Dublin. So we were supposed to meet a tour in Dublin. So we thought, well, let's go a little early, let's go a lot early, so that we definitely don't miss it. But with whatever time we have, we can sort of wander around and then catch our tour. Well, what we have found out, and I can't say this is true of Ireland in general or Dublin specifically, all of us are public transportation people, in Portugal. So we just sort of assume that's how we're going to get around. And we went to catch the bus, which it's like, let's plan, it's really close, but let's make sure we give it at least 5 minutes to get there. And it took like 30 seconds. I mean, it's just right outside the gate across the lawn. It's like, oh, okay. But we got there and there were a number of people there, and we waited and waited and waited. And the bus just never showed up. It was supposed to arrive a certain time, and then the next bus showed up 20 minutes later because it was running on a 20-minute schedule, and that bus was full, so it couldn't take us on.
Oh, no.
So then we waited another 20 minutes and got on a bus. So we were already, 40 minutes later than we had planned to be. And we said, well, that's okay. It's a good thing we planned to be there an hour and a half early, so this will be all right. Well, no one had told us that the entire city of Dublin was being rebuilt this weekend. So
in your honor,
traffic bumper to bumper on a Saturday morning. We sat places not moving at all for 5 minutes at a time. So it took us what a bus ride that should have been about 40 minutes took us nearly twice that. And by that time, the tour had left. So it's like, okay, now we're in Dublin city center for the whole day. So we took advantage of that, and this is kind of the topic I had sort of planned. So maybe next week I'll talk about, how do you let go? How do you manage expectations and let go of the unfulfilled expectations? All of that, because you've asked me a couple of, how do you do that? I said, well, that could be fun to talk about too. But today I'm thinking, talking about that today is probably not going to be.
But is it a bit of a buzzkill today?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, I get to sort of share for once when you say, and you didn't, so that's perfect. How was your weekend? Right? You always say, how was your non-weekend? But it's like, well, I actually had a weekend.
And how was it, James?
Yes. So that was Saturday, and it was a long day, a lot of walking, and warm and beautiful, and a perfect time. I had my first Irish Guinness experience in
hold it right
Dublin.
There. Hold it right there. Hold it right there, because I've got something to share with you. This is incredible timing. Check this out.
Yes. And that's not an exaggeration, at least in Dublin.
Bobby sent me that picture. I added the hallelujah chorus.
Nice.
And the
very nice.
Because I thought that must be what it's like. We have this ongoing quest to find the best Guinness in Portugal. And funny enough, there was Guinness in the draft can style at the event yesterday, which I thought was very thoughtful. But I guess that's driven by expat demand. But there you are. How did you? Let me do it again, and then tell us your review of it.
I've actually sung that chorus, so it's like I have to struggle, not struggle, but I feel the vocal cords wanting to go.
I've never sung it, but it just fills my heart with joy.
I've actually sung the entire Messiah twice in my life. So
have you really? Where were you in the choir? Which part?
I was a first tenor. It was hard.
Yes, I bet. And that's it's a marathon of a thing, isn't it? It's not just rocking up and singing a couple of numbers, is it?
Yes.
The whole night out.
And a lot of hallelujah.
Yeah, a lot of hallelujah. So how was your first Guinness in Ireland?
Well, it was really perfect because we were getting hot in the sun and tired from our feet were tired. We wanted to take a load off, as we'll say, and so I was looking for what appeared to be a traditional Irish pub, right? Because if you're going to be here, why not? Yeah, that wouldn't be hard, but for some reason we struggled a little bit to find the right one or the right timing or whatever it was. So at this point we were just off the river, right in the center of town. We were getting warm. Hot, I guess, actually. So we found a pub, and unfortunately I can't remember the name of this one. And it was everything I expected, all wood, very dark. At this point, afternoon on a Saturday, it wasn't really crowded. I mean, there was plenty places to pull up a stool. So I had been talking about it with Hank. I said, well, I've had exactly one Guinness in my life, and that was in the United States from a can. And according to Bobby O'Reilly, that's not Guinness. talk to any Irish person, that's not Guinness. It has the label, but that is not Guinness. And so I shared that with Hank. That's what I have learned about it from Irish people about this beer. And of course, you ask for a beer, and they say, "You mean a Guinness?" So it's like that. It really is the prominent brew for at least for Dublin and maybe Ireland in general. So I found myself a little bit surprised because my first experience of a Guinness, and I understand that was not a Guinness. If what I drank in Ireland was a Guinness, what I drank in California was not. Mm-hmm. It just because what I describe to people from my experience in California is when I think of a beer, I think of it as being cold, not room temperature, and I don't expect to have to chew it.
Yes.
That's sort of it.
A very good analysis.
And so when it was served and I touched the glass, I said, it wasn't cold, but it was definitely cool. Like it'd been in the fridge as opposed to, like the tap for making it really cold. And of course it came with the top of it like that full. And I'm a lightweight anyway, so I got a half pint. So I guess I didn't really have my first Guinness experience.
Did you get a funny look?
I'm a half pint guy.
I want to see that video of the American asking for a half a pint of Guinness. Was there a ruffle, a wrinkle across the brow of the bartender, or was that okay?
Actually, no. They were again many similar qualities of the Irish culture that I've experienced so far to Portugal. They're very accommodating, very friendly. It's like, oh, you'd like a half pint? Okay, and off they go and get it and bring it back or whatever.
Yes.
But they did. It came with the full head on it, and she said, "You'll have to wait." And I said, "I knew that already." I learned that from Bobby O'Reilly. I learned a lot from him. Right? Yes. So we sat. We kind of watched the head get a little bit smaller. And we're ready. We arrived ready to have a beer. Right, a little hot, a little parched. Da, 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 da. But
so you sang parts of the Messiah to keep you distracted.
Can I get a Guinness sign of some sort and just hold it up? I'll sing Hallelujah while I wait. Anyway, I knew what a proper head was on it. It's just enough to leave a little foam on your lip.
Perfect.
And I sipped it and I said, "Wow, that's really nice. It's a little bit sweeter than I remember. It's very smooth, which is, I think, fairly common for dark beers." I really enjoyed it, and I was a little bit surprised. So it's like, okay, I know I can drink a Guinness and really enjoy it if I'm in Ireland.
Yeah. Yes, so the whole experience was there, like having a Prato do Dia in Portugal. It's about the context as much as anything else, isn't it? So I'm delighted to hear.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me. I mean, anything fresh is better than if it's been waiting several weeks to be consumed. And beer is no different. Any beer. I mean, it's best fresh brewed out of the tap, ready to go.
Yes.
After that, it tends to get more stale. So
I wonder if there are any exceptions to that in life, but generally that sounds about right, doesn't it? The fresher and closer things are to their origin, the better they are.
And we have phrases, fresh off the vine. I mean, kind of brings it right to the literal.
Yes, and not many people. I wonder how many people here can claim to have had milk straight from the cow, for example. That's a rare experience. You have. What was that like?
Warm. And much thicker than I anticipated because none of the cream has been removed.
Wow.
And it's got at least for one. Probably not. I mean, it was just a thing I did as an experiment. And I was going to say the last time I drank warm milk, it's like, no, I didn't even get that as a baby. So
you wouldn't have done, would you?
No. So the other thing is that I remember it had a sort of a faint grassy flavor to it.
That's what I was expecting.
That fresh, just a faint. It wasn't like, oh my God, I just took a mouthful of grass, but it's like,
Top notes of turf.
Yes, and that you don't get in bottled milk in your fridge. You don't get that because it's been pasteurized and other
Long way
things.
from home, isn't
Yeah.
it? A long way from home. And
Yeah.
nobody need share if they've had human milk as an adult. You don't need to tell us that. I don't like beer at all, says Mr. S. But he also says there are about 4 pubs on each block in Dublin, or maybe more than 4, and very loud music at midday. Pam, I love Dublin. Not been there for years. So a lot of love. Guinness is good
Well,
stuff.
the population's been growing apparently.
Okay.
It's Dublin.
All right. You only get to do that twice. All right.
I had to have the reference.
Yeah. I was like,
Thank you
where's
for
he
that.
going? Okay, I've got it. And there was a question, an interesting question from Jess. As a Portuguese resident, did you use your US passport or did you use
Yes,
these documents?
and it made my travel a bit more of a pain in the rear because Ryanair has an app where you can check in on your app, but it wouldn't take mine because it wasn't a Schengen passport. So I had to validate it at the airport, which means I had to stand in the baggage check-in line for about an hour to get to the desk so they could print me a boarding pass so I could go across the floor and have that person stamp it so I could go wait in line to get through security. And
Did you not use your Portuguese ID to fly to Ireland?
I did, but it didn't matter. It wasn't my passport.
Oh, okay. So, all right. That's unfortunate, isn't it? That's a less seamless part of the trip then.
Yes.
In Europe here. Okay.
So that's something to warn at least. Well, maybe it's not just Americans, but people who don't have an EU passport.
Yes.
I had to go to a different line in immigration when I got here, and I had to go.
Yeah, I know Tig will have something to say about this.
Yeah, and I had to go through immigration, and it's like, oh, that's right, because I'm U.S. I don't have a Schengen. But then, oh, wait a minute. They have all these. They have EU lines, and they have, I don't know what all the letters stood for. So,
who does these days?
Would those be non-Schengen EU countries, or I didn't stop to try and figure out how it worked, but I was reminded that I was coming into the country as if I had flown in from the United States. I had to go through the same process, because of the at least in part because of the passport. So anyone who hasn't traveled yet, who is traveling, be prepared for that. Just standing in lines as if you're going to Australia or whatever.
My Chinese wife had the same problem traveling from Ireland to Portugal, even before Brexit, despite having both UK, EU Schengen visas. Ireland is not in Schengen and wouldn't let her return. Okay. Thank you for that, Ancient Mariner.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, because Ireland is not a Schengen.
I didn't know that.
No, wait a minute.
Like I should know that.
Yeah, it's not. It's not, but it is EU. It's one of those confusing exceptions. That's what it was, because it's not a Schengen.
If they're trying to confuse us. So you're as Americans in Ireland, the temptation to trace ancestors might be quite strong. Are either or any of the three of you doing that this weekend?
No, I've done a bit of that years and years ago, and I know that my ancestry, I know through ancestry.com that something like 46% of my DNA is identified Irish, and another 51% or something is identified Scottish. So it didn't surprise me at all. It's like, oh, big surprise, I'm a WASP, which is white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, right? So I'm so surprised. But so no, not looking for it. I have been looking for my surname as I understood it was spelled when they arrived in the Americas. It was spelled Hawley, but it's still a pretty unusual surname, I guess, because I haven't seen it anywhere.
As in Richard Hawley, the musician, Hawley.
Yeah, and I just envisioned that, in the United States, the census comes to at the time, the census came to the door, who lives here, and they're writing down names. And someone said, Charles Hawley, and I just put Holley in there, and it stuck for the remainder because I saw a change in the registries as I was doing the research.
Yes, that would have happened to so many people, either willfully or accidentally, in some cases as well. But before you go, going to Ireland, then has it enriched your mindful migration mindset and view of life? What are your
Absolutely, and I'm realizing there's so much that isn't just specific to the places I saw or went, that maybe I'll carry that over to next week and talk about the process of being a foreigner in a foreign country. It's like, it's just the mind just cheek,
Yes.
and just one example of that was reminding myself it's okay to be a tourist. And I know it's okay to be a tourist in Portugal too, but it's like my intention is different. My intention is to become part of the culture there. And so I find myself hesitating to, ask a question. And then I go, oh, wait, I can do that in English. It's like there's so much that just shifts when you change a place. And I think that's why the saying is that, people who travel, something about never see the world the same again, or they don't arrive back to the same country, or whatever it was, because there's a huge shift in your understanding about how things go.
I bet. Yeah. Thank you for the Schengen map. That's opened up a can of worms. Who's in the EU, who's in Schengen, NATO, etc., etc. It's got a complex Venn diagram. Thank you for sending me that map. And,
the simple explanation I've heard of that is that Schengen is essentially the rules and regulations for visas. It determines who can go where and who needs to have what to go there. And that the EU is being a member of a nation state, basically. So that helped. Okay, so I can be a member of the EU and not be a Schengen because I'm going to use different visa regulations or whatever.
Yeah, I still think it's amazing how the EU project has become synonymous with what people think of as Europe now.
Mm-hmm.
And there is 27, I think, of the 50+ countries that make up continental Europe, if you like, and now it's become synonymous with say Europe, and people think of the EU. And apart from this complication that we're talking about this morning, thank you for the Guinness is good poster, which we'll squeeze in before you go, James. And are you going to have any more Guinness while you're over there, or is that it for the time being?
I'm not making any projections. I'm really learning to just go with the flow and see what shows up, and if there's an opportunity, sure. But there's so much I haven't said about what has happened so far. I do want to just quickly say we did go to Hout. That's how the Irish say it.
Hout.
With a TH at the end. So non-Irish would say Hout.
Yes.
But
you're a tourist there.
And that was major. I mean, it looked like the Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco on a sunny weekend. During summer, it was just super crowded and busy. Hour and a half to sit down and get a beer if you wanted to wait.
Wow.
It was so crowded.
Oh, thanks.
So, we ended up having milkshakes. It's like, okay, all the ice cream stores were available, but none of the restaurants or pubs. So it's like, no, forget that. And then last night, I just have to mention part of the original schedule was to go to, and I can't remember the full name, the Plowboy, Jerry, if Jerry's watching, he's going to hate this. Anyway, it was a great show with dinner, with traditional Irish music and dancing. It was a really wonderful evening last night.
Yeah.
And we're going to do the tour that we missed on Saturday. We're doing that today. So we'll get that caught up.
And thank you so much for making the effort and including us in your tour of Ireland. That was a lovely surprise this morning.
Oh, it was so fun. I love being able to provide surprises and to be able to just share a fresh new experience.
Have a great time there. Expats Portugal, Jerry does say, Ireland is like Portugal, but with less sunshine. And I think you mentioned that, didn't you? Resonance of the goodness of the people there.
Well, I've taken an umbrella everywhere I go, because one of the videos I watched, they said, people think it rains in Ireland all the time, but no, it doesn't. It just rains every day. So always have an umbrella.
Not all the time, just every day. Brilliant, James. Love to conk and honey. And we will see you soon. We'll see you next week, maybe back in your usual place. Big round of applause.
Yeah, I would expect so.
All right, ciao, ciao.
Thanks. Bye-bye, all.
On the ear to you.